Tonight on Eagle Angle, we honor an OC staff member that passed away.
Hear all about the Art Talk event.
And learn how the community is trying to raise awareness for Oklahoma's incarceration rates.
Plus, Nick Rogers is in the studio with your entertainment.
And Trinity Carpenter has your Eagle Angle sports report. Hello and welcome to Eagle Angle. I'm Reagan Meyer.
I'm Elijah Johnson. Eagle Angle is a student-produced newscast live from the campus of Oklahoma Christian University. Last Friday on February 14th, Darcy Thompson passed away in her home. She had suffered from breast cancer for the past 7 years. A celebration of life ceremony was held on Tuesday, February 18th at 2 p.m. at Memorial Road Church of Christ. Thompson was a graduate of OC and she served for her alma mater for 20 years. She was also the Director of Fitness and Wellness and a former admissions counselor, Associate of Director of Admissions, and Director of Admissions. Her husband, Mark Thompson, and her daughters, Talayla and Tinley, remember her as a thrill seeker. She loved to climb mountains, run marathons, and travel the world. Her extended family, including her parents, 4 siblings, and numerous nieces and nephews, all mourn her passing. She touched the OC campus with passion for health and wellness. Her love and encouragement reached many people on campus. Please pray for her family as they grieve her passing.
This past week, Oklahoma hosted a community rally about prison reform. Our reporter, Trinity Carpenter, has the story.
Do you know that Oklahoma is a world leader in female incarceration and nationally ranked top 2 for general incarceration?
We have an incarceration crisis. We cannot afford to wait. We have to act today.
This past Saturday, many gathered at a community rally called Yes on 805. This rally was organized by a diverse bipartisan coalition of community leaders brought together in support of State Question 805, a criminal justice reform measure that would allegedly end the use of sentence enhancements for nonviolent offenses.
I'm here because I have a family member, a close family member, that's been affected by incarceration. He's currently serving a 17-year sentence for a nonviolent offense.
805 also aims to allow inmates who have already received an extreme sentence to petition the court for relief. Organizers of Yes on 805 say they are in need of 178,000 signatures of registered Oklahoma voters to accomplish their goals, but made it clear that a signature is just the beginning.
We absolutely must recognize this is but a tiny first step. We need a complete change in our correction system in Oklahoma. We should have no more than 10,000 people in prison to protect public safety as opposed to 26,000.
OC's Black Student Union President Elise Miller wants you to get involved.
At some point within the next month, we're going to have tables outside of the Student Center where students can sign the petition and get more informed about this state question.
I'm Trinity Carpenter, reporting for Eagle Angle.
Bobette Buster will lead an arts, religion, and culture lecture here at OC this Friday at 5:30. These lectures encourage Christian artists and designers to grow in their field. They also help artists make global impact with their company. Bobette Buster has worked for over 25 years as a professor in the film industry. Previously, she was a professor at University of Southern California School of Cinematic Arts. Her past clients include Disney, Pixar, Disney Animation, 21st Century Fox, and Sony Animation. Now she gives lectures and seminars around the world for film and business schools. The lecture will cover how to further your brand through the use of storytelling. A reception will start at 5:30 with the lecture starting at 6:45. For more information about Bobette Buster, check out her TED Talk called The Radical Art of Storytelling.
If you have any stories you would like us to report on, email our news producer at becca.kashorek@eagles.oc.edu. Now for our national news. After 13 days in quarantine on board the Diamond Princess cruise ship, nearly 300 Americans have been evacuated back to the United States. However, for some, the initial joy of getting to go home has been overshadowed by the thought of facing yet another 14-day quarantine upon their arrival in the U.S. Will Ripley spoke to evacuees as they boarded the planes to get an inside look on the situation.
Daybreak in Yokohama, Japan. the final day on the Diamond Princess for more than 300 Americans evacuated by the U.S. government.
This is a converted cargo 747, so it has less insulation than a regular passenger jet, so layers so you can stay warm.
American health officials try to prepare passengers for a long, uncomfortable journey, a journey Carrie Maniscalco from Utah is reluctant to take. She and her husband already endured nearly 2 weeks of quarantine on the cruise ship.
I didn't like that answer.
Now, they're about to do it all over again at a California military base.
They have sent over a dozen emails assuring us that there would not be an additional quarantine. And they just told us that we'd be re-quarantined for 14 more days. I've just lost a whole month of my life.
She's angry at the U.S. government, angry they waited so long to evacuate the American passengers. Others, like Gay Corder from Florida, are grateful.
And I want to go somewhere where I can feel safe. And I just want to thank President Trump and the U.S. government. There's been a lot of silence on this. And now we know the silence has been putting together a brilliant plan.
Executing that plan will take nearly 10 hours, even though the airport is just a 20-minute drive from the ship.
The buses are starting to line up.
Once they get on, there's no getting off, not even to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, the best I can do is go find out where a bathroom is. Go find out.
As the hours drag on, this health worker tries to break the tension.
What do you call a witch on the beach? A sandwich.
There you go.
Passengers are beginning to feel like the joke is on them.
We're just waiting. I don't really know what we're waiting for, but we are waiting indefinitely.
Finally, they're allowed off the bus.
Woohoo! Ooh, yeah. Yes!
And onto the tarmac, boarding 2 converted 747 cargo planes. The cabin best described as bare bones. No windows, makeshift toilets, temporary seats.
This is first class, baby. First class.
Lack of luxury aside, Maniscalco feels anxious.
It's not good conditions. No one on here has had their temperature taken by the federal government or any government for that matter. So we're all in really closed, tight quarters. Everybody's sitting next to each other. I have a girl sitting here in just a minute. It seems dangerous and not safe.
The U.S. government says they are safe, even though 14 passengers who tested positive for coronavirus are allowed on the flight, all showing no symptoms. They're put in a specialized containment area, isolated from the other passengers. Just after daybreak, both planes finally take off. A long, sleepless night, followed by a 10-hour flight. Now they've arrived in California and Texas. One ordeal ends, another begins. Will Ripley, CNN, Yokohama, Japan.
For some struggling families, school is the only place for children to get a meal. And lunchrooms don't let kids go hungry, even if they can't pay. That's left Wichita Public Schools with hundreds of thousands of dollars in school lunch debt. As Caroline Elliott reports, a single dad is trying to help.
Wings for lunch costs $2.40 at Brooks Magnet Middle School. Over time, that cost adds up quickly. $6,000 in school lunch debt between 600 middle school students in just one school year. And it's not even over yet. Assistant Principal Donna Simpson says it's a dramatic increase in debt from previous years.
$6,000 this year is really up from previous years. But when you think about the things that have happened in the Wichita economy over the last year with extreme layoffs, and we have students whose parents are affected.
A perfect stranger, Joshua Dido, is on a mission to wipe out school lunch debt in Wichita.
I'm not the best off financially. I'm a single father with 2 kids. I take care of my mom as well. And then I also have a spoiled dog. So money is tight. But I think, you just got to set your heart on something and just go with it.
Dido started a fundraiser on social media. He quickly raised $700 and donated $500 himself. While Wichita students are never denied a lunch, that's the reason for all the debt in the first place, Dido still has a purpose.
To get Wichita to a point where every kid has money on their lunch account.
Through these donations, Brooks Magnet Middle School is now school lunch debt free. But altogether, students at Wichita Public Schools have accrued $350,000 in school lunch debt this year alone.
We have almost 500,000 people in Wichita. You know, if everybody chipped in with, 50 cents or $1, I'm sure we could, knock it out.
A study suggests that teachers who punish students in class may not get the good behavior they're seeking. Mandy Gaither with more in today's Health Minute.
Praise instead of punishment in the classroom. A new study suggests that is what will make elementary students stay more focused on their schoolwork and lessons. Researchers spent 3 years counting teacher praise and reprimands in more than 150 classrooms in 19 U.S. elementary schools. In half of those classrooms, teachers were told to teach as they typically did. In the other half, teachers were required to follow a behavioral intervention program in which teachers first teach children social skills through repetition, discussion, and role play. The teachers then formed student teams, praising the students with a verbal indication of approval when they followed those good social behaviors. The lead author of the research published in the journal Educational Psychology says, as elementary teachers' praise over punishment ratio increases, so does on-task behavior. He says the more a teacher praised and the less they scolded, the better focused students were on their lessons. Those who provided the most praise saw up to 30% more positive student behavior. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
From chances of snow one day to 60 degrees another, this continues to be a typical Oklahoma winter. Garrett White joins us in the studio after this short break to give us the 5-day forecast.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
I was just going to drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh, man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on, man, let's split a ride home.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Good afternoon, Oklahoma City. A pleasure to be back in the studio with all of you. Currently, the weather is 56 degrees, and with cloud cover, it feels a bit more like 54. As we take a look at the map, starting at the heart of Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, it is 57 degrees. Now, a cluster of 54-degree weather as we look at Tulsa, Sallisaw, Ada, and in Ardmore. 55 in Durant, as well as in Altus. A little bit warmer by 1 degree, 56 in Lawton. And from here on out, it's going to steadily cool. 53 degrees in Elk City, 50 in Miami. Ponca City is 47 degrees, and it's 41 in Guyman. For the weather tonight, the temperature dropping significantly down to 33 degrees. This is helped by the fact that there's a 13-mile-an-hour wind coming in from the northeast. The humidity will also be up at 52%. For the weekend, sun on Saturday. However, Sunday will bring in some light rain. But through all of this, expect temperatures to be in the high 50s. As we take a look at the next 5 days, Thursday is going to be partially cloudy, a high of 41, low dropping down to 22 degrees. Friday is going to be sunny, a high of 49, low of 35. Saturday, mostly cloudy, a high of 57, low of 46. Sunday, bringing in that rain, high of 59, low of 39. And then Monday being partially cloudy, a high of 55, low of 35 degrees. That's all I have for weather. Up next, join Nick Rogers in the Entertainment Corner with all the latest.
Staring contest! You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your dog walker,
On your left!
your cat jogger. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Hello everyone and welcome back to your Entertainment Corner. I'm your host Nick Rogers, and first up, legendary comedians and longtime friends Steve Martin and Martin Short are hitting the road this summer. They announced the dates for their 2020 tour named The Funniest Show in Town at the Moment. The 15-date tour starts in July in Irvine, California, and ends in September in Atlanta. Some of the dates include Steve Martin's bluegrass band, Steep Canyon Rangers, and former Late Show with David Letterman, band leader Paul Schaefer, and other musical guests. Tickets go on sale to the general public on February 21st. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle aren't royals anymore. Or are they? Turns out Buckingham Palace isn't quite sure either. It's become an issue because the Duke and Duchess of Sussex is hoping to generate income through their brand called Sussex Royal. They both agreed to stop using the titles His and Her Royal Highness last month. The question is, can they use the term royal for their brand? The New York Times reported earlier this month an aide to the Queen warned them against doing so. The royal source says it is still being discussed, but the term will most likely be dropped from the brand. Well, looks like that's all for this week in entertainment. Tune in next week to catch up on the latest. Now, we go back to the desk for sports.
I'm Trinity Carpenter, and this is your Eagle Angle Sports Report. Both the girls and the guys basketball team played twice this past week. For the girls, they played on Saturday against Angelo State. Both teams would battle closely throughout the first half, with the Ram Bells going into halftime with a 6-point lead over the Lady Eagles. In the second half, both teams would continue to battle, but the Ram Bells would keep the lead and hold off the Lady Eagles 90-84. Megan Shelton was the team's leading scorer, setting a new career high of 27 points. Katie Mayo, however, was the star of the night, for the Lady Eagles having 17 points and becoming the 31st Lady Eagle in OC history to score over 1,000 points in her career. Congratulations, Katie. The Lady Eagles would take on defending Division II National Championship Lubbock Christian. Lubbock Christian would come out hot, scoring the Lady Eagles, outscoring the Lady Eagles 23-7 in the first quarter. Lubbock Christian would continue to dominate as they would go on to beat the Lady Eagles 81-57. Top scorer for Oklahoma Christian was Tyra Peck, who had 13 points. As for the guys, Oklahoma Christian would take on Angelo State on Thursday. Both teams battled back and forth throughout the entire game, which would eventually lead to them going into overtime. The Rams would outscore the Eagles in overtime 15-5 and go on to beat Oklahoma Christian 71-61. OC's top scorers were Dadrian Palmer Jr. and Aubrey Johnson, who both had 21 points. The Eagles would then take on Lubbock Christian on Saturday. OC would start off really hot, scoring 36 points in the first half and head into halftime with a 4-point lead. Oklahoma Christian would continue to play really well in the second half and manage to hold off Lubbock Christian 69-68. Aubrey Johnson was the top scorer for OC, having 25 points. Both the guys and the girls will be on the road this week when they both will take on Cameron University on Thursday and then take on Midwestern State on Saturday. Oklahoma Christian softball team played 5 games this weekend here at home. The Eagles played 2 games on Friday. In the first game, the girls would struggle as they would only put up a total of 2 runs and falling to Chadron State 3-2, giving the Eagles just their second loss of the season. The girls would, however, bounce back in their next game on when they would go on to beat Fort Hays State 8-1. The Eagles would then play 2 more games on Saturday. The first game was against Colorado State Pueblo. The girls would score 3 runs early and have 3-2 lead going into the 5th inning. Oklahoma Christian would then add 4 more runs in the 5th inning and then 3 more runs in the 6th inning to come away with a 10-2 win. Then in their second game on Saturday, they would take on Colorado Springs. OC would start off early, scoring a total of 4 runs through 3 innings, but Colorado Springs would battle back, bringing in 4 runs in the 6th inning to tie the game. Colorado Springs would then take the lead in the 7th inning and come away with a 5-4 victory over Oklahoma Christian. Oklahoma would then close out the weekend on Sunday when they took on Northeastern State. The Eagles would strike first with Caitlin Dunkel hit a 3-run home run in the first inning. Oklahoma Christian would not look back as they would go on to win 9-1 and improving their record to 12-3. Caitlin Dunkel led the Eagles this weekend with a combined total of 6 hits on 16 at-bats with 1 home run and 8 RBIs. The girls will play 4 times this coming weekend. First game is set for Friday at 4 p.m. here at home. OC's baseball team also played on the road this week when they played a 4-game series against Texas A&M International. Their first game was on Friday, and Oklahoma Christian would strike first, scoring 2 runs in the first inning. OC would not look back as they would add on 6 more runs throughout the entire game, and OC's own Gabe Rodney would pitch an 8th inning and hold the Dust Devils scoreless, giving OC a 8-0 win and giving them their first win of the season. The Eagles would then play a doubleheader on Saturday. In the first game, Texas A&M International would take full control of the game, scoring 9 runs through a total of 5 innings. Oklahoma Christian would then score 2 runs in the 7th inning, but that was all they could manage to put up as they would fall short 9-2. In the second game, Oklahoma Christian would fall behind early in the first inning 1-0. But in the third, OC would start to get the bats going as they would go on to score 4 runs in the third and then add 3 more runs throughout the remainder of the game, coming away with a 7-4 victory. The series would then close out on Sunday as OC would take an early 1-0 lead off a double by Blake Emke. The Dust Devils would take control of the lead in the 4th inning by putting up 3 runs. Oklahoma Christian would then bounce back in the 7th inning, putting up 7 runs. OC would go on to win 12-6 and win the series over Texas A&M International 3-4. The Eagles will play in a 4-game series here at home this week when they take on Texas Tyler. First game is set for 2 on Friday. We would like to congratulate the OC men's swim team for finishing 3rd place and the women's swim team for finishing 4th at the RBAC championship meet. After the break, we will take a look at this. Stay tuned.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands? Yes. You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Natural disasters are a fact of life in the U.S. And between activities and school, chances are you won't be with your kids when they happen. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids can help your children feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Picture this. It's the middle of the night, you have a hungry baby, but you don't have any formula. Your 4 other kids are all asleep, your husband is out of town, and your neighbors aren't answering their phones. What do? Ladd Egan talked with one mom in Utah who found out firsthand what the Serve and Protect and Serve means for police.
What's the address of your emergency?
It's 2:12 a.m. and Shannon Bird doesn't have a way to feed her 6-week-old baby.
I have no formula, and I have no idea how I can get formula to her. And I've been calling neighbors, and no one will answer.
She tells the dispatcher that her milk suddenly dried up.
This is my 5th, and this has never happened.
With the rest of her 5 children sleeping, one in a cast, and her husband out of town, she asks for help. Officers with Lone Peak Police answered the call.
She's like a brand new baby.
Even stopping at the convenience store to grab a gallon of milk, which they quickly learn won't do the trick.
What kind of formula does she need?
I don't even know. I've never done it.
Okay.
Like a newborn stuff.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
The officers then offered a run to Walmart.
We'll leave this with you, and we'll be right back with some formula for your baby, okay? She's adorable. So, okay.
A short time later, they return with formula.
Are you sure?
Yeah, 100%. So, sorry, we can't take any money.
The same kind one of the officers used to feed his newborn.
So hopefully it doesn't upset her stomach or anything. Well, I'm glad we could help you out.
I was not expecting them to go and get that food for me. Like, honestly, I just was like, maybe you guys can even just patrol my house while I'm away. And, you know, I wake up my 8-year-old.
To this mom, this is a priority for her.
Lone Peak spokesperson applauds his fellow officers, saying this case, while unique, isn't much different than helping change a tire.
Oh, it's been about protect and serve. This is part of the serve. We are here to serve the public.
Bird can't thank her middle-of-the-night helpers enough.
I had never been that frantic. Like, what do you do? Thank you for helping people in situations where they can't help themselves in emergencies.
All right, well, midterms are coming up. How do you feel about it?
I don't know. It seems like this semester is going by really, really fast, honestly.
It is absolutely flying by.
Plus, we have a pretty long summer, so the summer's going to be a really good rest for me.
Yes, and spring break is coming up, so that's going to be nice.
Spring break, plus my birthday's on spring break, so that's going to be
nice,
really fun.
Nice. All right, well, thank you for watching Eagle Angle, where it's your campus.
Your news.